Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another video? This is another paid request, this time for Arthur. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, almost anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. I also do have a second YouTube channel just in case anything happens. And I also have a channel on the website Odysee that's backed up some of these videos. All those links are down below in the info box. And I'm stalling here because Arthur wanted me to talk about Victor Crowley from 2017, and I know I tend to do this a lot with movies that just, I think really just I get these, I don't really get a headache, I do this kind of just clear my head, kind of like a memory wipe, kind of. This somehow goes to the recycle bin of this computer, of this faulty information called pieces of trash like this movie. If you love these films and you love this film, to each their own. I know it's just like a 5.79 to B. I don't agree with that. I think that's too high. I've never been a fan of the Hatchet films. I never have. Well, that's a little bit of a lie, but bear with me. The first Hatchet I never liked. I remember that came out in 2007. There was a big deal, big hoopla, big hype about it. Old school American horror is back. But when you watch the film, I mean, it wasn't really old school American horror because, yeah, there's gore and there's very bloody gore, and a lot of films had been tame compared to that film in the years before that. But it came off more as like an American Pie, scary movie, parody type of movie that just happens to have this crazy gore in it. And that's the thing with Adam Green is that, yes, slasher films did have humor in them, but again, they didn't feel like American Pie, scary movie type of humor. Unless you're talking like Student Bodies, which is supposed to be a parody. And that's actually a film I like more than the Hatchet films. But like the characters and the way they acted and the comedy just really felt forced and unfunny, and you can do that type of comedy with blood and guts and horror. Dead Alive with Peter Jackson did that very well. This though, like I said, the comedy wasn't funny, the characters weren't that intriguing, and I'll be honest, Adam Green, when he's away from the Hatchet films, I think he's a lot better of a director. I still enjoy Frozen. I'm not talking about the Disney film. I'm talking about the three people stuck on the ski lift. And I still think that's a pretty damn decent, pretty damn underrated movie. It's a cool idea. It's a different, unique idea. The acting's pretty capable. The way Adam Green shoots the shots to showcase the height that they're at, and just how the hell they don't get out of this situation. I think Frozen is his best movie. And Digging Up the Marrow I liked as well. It's him playing himself, looking into this guy who said there's all these creatures around, and says he's a horror film director. Adam Green's like, man, we could prove the existence of creatures for real instead of just trying to make them up for movies. So it's like fake documentary, found footage type, but again, I thought the humor in that worked better. I liked the bit with Kane Hodder talked with, oh yeah, nice special effect. Which movie is this for? Like Kane Hodder was more interesting in that role than in all four of these Hatchet films combined as Victor Crowley. So yeah, Adam Green, Frozen and Digging Up the Marrow I do truly like. These Hatchet films, the second film, at one point I didn't mind. Because I'm like, okay, I didn't like the first one. This, I do think it's a step up. It does look a bit cheaper, to be fair, in terms of set design and where it was shot. It does look more like a set than a location. But I like that Danielle Harris was in it, being a fan of Halloween 4, and I had not seen her in a while. Well, I guess Rob Zombie's Halloween, but I might as well not have seen her in that either, because that movie sucks. But to her be the star of a film, and Tony Todd got more to do, and I like Tony Todd as an actor, and he still had the crazy gore. I think, was it that one or the third one that had Derek Mears? I can't remember. They kind of blend together now. But okay, Philly had definitive ending. Was it a sequel-based cliffhanger ending like the first Hatchet? There's still some annoyances and characters and humor, but I'm okay. I could deal with this as a time waster at the time. Nowadays, in the fact that that film is completely pointless and there's no point in watching it because you could literally skip that film and go from Hatchet 1 to Hatchet 3, because Hatchet 2 and 3 is almost the same damn movie anyway. They go in the woods, people die, there's Daniel Harris. Hatchet 3, now it's more people looked in. You got Zach Galligan as the sheriff. You got Carolyn Williams, who I really enjoy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And really, they're there just to be cannon fodder, because really, there is no character bits. And people go, well, it's a slasher, why does that matter? Hey, I liked Amy Steele in Friday the 13th Part 2. I like the characters in Nightmare on Elm Street films, like Nancy and Alice, a.k.a. Lisa Wilcox, and the Dream Warriors in the Elm Street movies. I like, hell, the two characters of Crispin Glover and, was it Lawrence Monahan, the guy from Last American Virgin? They had more character development, as slim as it is, than anybody in the Hatchet films, in my opinion. So Hatchet 3, I didn't like that they killed off Zach Galligan. I didn't like they killed off Caroline Williams. It once again looked cheap. I never liked the Victor Crowley look. I always thought he looked goofy. And people go, well, in real life, you'd be scared. It isn't real life. It's a movie. I know the difference. There's a screen. There's a separation. And when I see him on the screen, it looks like, I know Adam Green says he never saw Madman. Well, it looks a lot like they took from Madman, from the legend and the way the outfit is, and the overalls and the axe, and yes, I would say I would watch Madman just for that song alone. Or alone. I got mixed with Sing Along. Beware the Madman Mars. I don't care for the ending of that film, and it's not one of my favorite 80s slashers, because the characters all suck, and there's like, but at least that I could appreciate the atmosphere, the lighting in terms of direction, especially with the blue. Some fun bits like the score. I think the guy who tells the campfire tale, dude, like, there's moments I could grasp at and still like more than these films. But would I say Madman's a favorite 80s slasher? No, not at all. But do I think it's at least okay? Yes, I would say it's at least okay. I could watch it. And actually, because I don't like the characters, maybe the ending doesn't bother me as much as it should. Because I'm like, well, the whole characters suck. But I like watching movies with characters I like and want to root for them. And I don't know, that's my weird thing. Yes, even in slasher films, I do like that. That's not the case in these movies. I mean, I guess Danielle Harris, I like her. I would like Zach Galligan and Caroline Williams, and I think if you made them the stars, and you actually dealt with their characters, and okay, maybe they used to be a couple, which they kind of worked a bit of that in, I believe, whatever little bits I remember, but then they do nothing with it, and they just die anyway, and it doesn't matter, and because Adam Green's not about that. He doesn't care about that shit. Where's the comedy? Where's the gore? And the comedy sucks, and the gore got cheaper as it went along. This is like the cheapest looking gore of all four. And again, Hatchet 2 like lost luster for me, because I'm like, that everything about that was pointless. Even her, I like the idea that she knows this thing won't die, so she keeps killing it until there's fucking nothing left. But it doesn't matter, it just comes back again and it's all fucking pointless. So, again, you might as well have skipped it. And Hatchet 3, I thought sucked. I'm like, good, they're not making any more movies. It ended on this weird thing where at the end of Hatchet 3, you didn't know if Danielle Harris lived or died, but I also thought, I guess I'm wrong, that I'm like, is she possessed? Is she going to be evil? Like, maybe I put that in my own head and it wasn't in the movie, but maybe it was just to make us wonder whether she's alive or dead. Which they do answer that in this, to be fair. I know I'm like 10 minutes and I haven't talked about this fucking movie. Just there's not much to talk about this fucking movie. There's nothing to this movie. Apparently Adam Green, this is his words. He said that Wes Craven had passed away. He was very sad about that. I mean, I was sad about that too, but I didn't make a shitty sequel to really a shitty franchise. But he says that George Romero talked to him and said, you know what, man? You should keep directing. What's going on with that Crowley character? And that George Romero inspired him to make this movie, Victor Crowley, a.k.a. Hatchet IV. That's what Adam Green says. But, you know, and then George Romero passed away before he could show the film. I'm like, did George Romero really like these movies, or was he just being nice? I almost want to assume he was just being nice. Hey, you know what, man? You're a nice guy. Yeah, go make those Hatchet movies, Slugger. That could be well the case. He was being nice. Because he's, from everyone I hear who met him, they said he was a nice guy. So that shows George Romero being a nice guy. And I was going to say, well, I'm never going to watch the film, but technically that was true. He is never going to watch the film. And there's a bad joke in there somewhere, as in, he found out he was going to watch the film. He's like, fuck this, I'm going to heaven. Which, if you're up there, man, I hope you're laughing. It's meant to be a joke, George. I miss George Romero, Wes Craven. I miss those guys. They were legends. They are legends. Not were, they are legends. Adam Green, while I like 2 of his movies, I don't consider him a legend in the horror genre. I don't. And what brought him to this Hatchet, I think is the worst stuff he's done. Although I thought that other film, Spiral, was pretty shitty too. And then not the Spiral with Chris Rock. There's another film called Spiral. But anyway. Matt, you don't talk about the film. It's been 13 minutes. Here's the plot. Perry Shin, who played one character in Hatchet 1. Then he played, I think, the brother of that character in Hatchet 2. And in each one he died. Then the third film, he was a completely different character, but he just happened to look like those 2 characters. But he played like an ambulance driver. He lived. Now it's 10 years after the first film, 2007. This came out in 2017. 10-year anniversary. And here's the thing, Perry Shin, I actually don't mind as an actor. I think if used with the right script and a different director, because to be fair, Adam Green did not direct Hatchet 3, someone else did. Not that it made any difference, I guess. But he didn't direct Hatchet 3. I keep forgetting that. He didn't direct it. He directed the first 2. I think he directed this one, but he didn't direct Hatchet 3. I forget the guy's name. But so maybe just the writing, or just a different franchise. Just Perry Shin, I don't think his acting is that bad. It's just the script he's given sucks. But his acting, I don't think is that bad. And the idea of him being an almost victim, and 10 years later, he's promoting his book, and people call him O.J. Simpson. People don't believe him. Oh, you blamed it on a ghost, but you're the one who really killed these people. And I think there's a lot of good character work you could have gotten out of that. Again, I think Perry Shin, I don't think he's that bad of an actor. And I think that's some character work you could have got a lot of potential out of. But Adam Green doesn't want that shit. And then people go, well, it's a slasher for when you spit that. Slasher films have changed. Yes, I expect a little bit more from the days of the 80s. There's a lot of good. I love My Bloody Valentine from the 80s. I love April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day from 1986 shows what you can do with character work. This has no gore. If you've seen the film, you know why there's really no gore. But that has character work and likable people, and one of the best casts, I would say, in a slasher film. It's not a slasher film. Yeah, I know. But you know what I mean. You could still make that work and have that attempt and be a valiant attempt. But it's not the case here. Instead, you did awful comedy. You did terrible performances from the rest of the people. Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp is in this. They're very over-the-top accent. I don't know what the hell she was trying to go for. Oh, come on. I can't even attempt it. He says, I'm never going back. Felissa Rose is his agent. She says this true crime drama show offered $600,000. I got them up to $1 million. If you do the show, but it's gotta be at the swamp. He agrees, but even he keeps saying it's a bad idea. I'm like, it is a bad idea. The plane crashes, and then the rest of the damn movie is pretty much on the plane. Once a Blue Moon, we're outside of the plane, and maybe little bits here and there of the plane, but again, these films got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And the first Hatchet was not some fucking, big Hollywood production. But this is easily the cheapest of the four. The gore is the cheapest of the four. Sometimes the gore looked like something just got out of a damn, I don't know, Play-Doh. Or some... It's funny, one of the effects is like someone's garage. I'm like, did you steal it from your aunt or your uncle or both? Like, it looked like something from a garage. It's a bunch of, just got some mannequin arms and put some blood on it. And their go-to is a head goes off and a big spray of blood, like a hose. There's a big go-to. And it feels like a lot doesn't happen for a while. Okay, at the beginning, you have a couple, and this one time with the comedy. From the get-go. These two are out in the swamp. The guy's proposes to the girl is crying, and she's sniveling. Like a Scary Movie parody, but this is like a Scary Movie 5. And when they kiss, when they pull back, there's a big wad of snot on both their faces. Like, it's literally a fucking joke at this point. It was before, it is now. A big wad of snot. I wait for James Woods to come in and say, fuck this, and leave for the toilet. Would have been better. James Woods coming in with a magnum, shooting Victor Crowley in the nuts and the face, then did his shotgun. I'm no more a priest, I don't give a fuck. There you go. Better movie. So then Victor Crowley kills them, and it's practical. I'll give you that, but it still looks pretty damn cheap. Kills the guy, chops the lady's limbs off, and then gets to Perry Shin. Like I said, he wrote what this other guy wrote this book. People don't believe him. They said, you really did it. You're like O.J. Simpson. That goes on the plane. And on the plane, you got him. A few people that are just brought in and then just die in the crash itself. So it's like, okay. Like, there's a makeup artist guy. Which almost made me think it was... Remind me a bit of Misha Taylor from Mannequin. Hollywood! But it wasn't. But, like, a few people die on the airplane crash, so there's really not much to talk about. There's Tiffany Shepis, which I know, she hung out with the guys at Dead Pit, Uncle Bill and CK. She's just there to just almost drown, and then does drown. Like, most of the movie, she's just on the ground, she can't move because she's stuck, and then she ends up drowning. So she definitely got the least gory death. I guess there's that. There's the guy that she likes. He gets scalped. I don't spoil it. Spoilers. Fuck it. And his brain falls off. And the brain, when it falls out, it looks like something from like science class when you open up and you just fucking play around with it. You know, this fake mannequin. This is a fucking discount toy. You also have over here these three wannabe filmmakers that try to meet Perry Shen earlier. And like one the guy of the three, there's two girls and a guy in a pizza place. The guy's literally, this is the line. That guy's so full of shit. He'd open up a shit restaurant filled with a shit. I know it's meant to be a bad line, but that doesn't make it worthwhile for us to hear, for our ears to fall off into our asshole. Felissa Rose gives probably her worst performance. Well, there is Return to Sleepaway Camp, so her second worst performance. And they await Victor Crowley, the three filmmakers, because what's this voodoo curse? Oh, and they leave their phone on and they say the curse. Which, when does the first scene in the movie take place? Does it take place during this night? And Victor Crowley just fucked off and killed these two random people, then came back? Is that what we're led to believe? Or because if Victor Crowley was out there, because the way the opening makes it look, Victor Crowley kills two people. Okay, he's still out there. But then, oh no, this is going to awaken him. But we already saw him awake at the beginning of the movie. But I guess, what, he killed those two people and took a piss break? And went to bed, and then this woke him up? Or those two were supposed to maybe get killed during the night, and this whole thing, whatever. And again, it does look cheap visually. It's nothing interesting to look at visually. It's just the inside of a plane, and the outside of a plane, and that's pretty much it for most of the fucking movie. And after those two people die at the beginning, it's not for another, like, you're almost halfway through the film. And thankfully it's a short film. That before you get another kill scene. So even if you're going in for that, you're witnessing another 30, 40 minutes of awful comedy. Before you get your, what you pay for, I guess. And like the other people, they say, you got Perry Shin, you got the TV, you got, as they say, the discount Oprah, who used to be with Perry Shin, and she's just a bitchy character. You have one of the three filmmakers that went to check on this plane crash with this tour guide who's a wannabe actor and tried to be funny and failed. Like the first time we see him, he's trying to do a Robert De Niro impression and all this stuff. Yeah, I wrote down, it was 44 minutes until the next death scene. Where the other two filmmakers they get killed. One gets a hammer to the head, and then his head gets popped off, and again fire hose. And the girl, well, she gets hit and then used for bait, and later on, he just stomps her a mud hole in her face, pretty much. And yeah, it's practical gore, but it does seem a lot fucking cheaper than before. Dime store effects. And there's not much else to talk about in the plane. It's just them, Perry Shin knowing he's out there, then he is out there. We gotta stay in here, we gotta stay in here. We gotta make it to the boat. Felissa Rose is freaking out. She runs out. And I guess you could say she got the goriest death because she got her arm ripped off and shoved up her vagina, and it had the phone in it, and it came out of her mouth. And I mean, I know that that's a graphic image, but the cheap effects kind of made it more laughable. I mean, I'm sure it's purpose to be laughable, but not for the reasons they thought. It just looked really cheap. Arm up a trooch. And you're like, okay, those three people died. The two filmmakers and Felissa Rose. The one guy that got stealthed and his brain fell off, which looked fucking ridiculous. It's meant to be ridiculous, but not in the way you think is ridiculous. So even then, people were thinking there's going to be this huge body count. It's not even that. Because we're already getting to the finale and there's, what, 4 people left? Yeah, Perry Shin, the third of the other lady of the filmmakers, the bitchy talk show host, and, well, Tiffany Shep is drowned. And then the wannabe actor. Ultimately, they start the plane engine. The one character that acts like a total bitch throughout it, her death was lame as hell. Like, Victor Crowley gets her, and I guess, like, dislocates her jaw, which the idea could be interesting, but the effect wasn't as... didn't look as grisly as you would think. And then he cuts her head off, but we see her point of view, so we just see the camera kind of roll in a point of view away. And then, again, comedy that goes on for too long, just like this review. The 3 of them left, the engine started, and Perry Shin shoots a flare. Hits him in the face. Well, I was trying to hit him in the balls. And then the girl tries to throw an axe with a one-liner, but it fails. And then Perry Shin tries to shoot him with a one-liner, and he misses. And even the third guy, finally, the actor goes, stop with the one-liners. So then Perry Shin, which in a better movie this could work, where he's a scared guy, he's a frightened guy, but he's finally going to muster some courage. He failed in saving anyone before, but he's going to save someone now, and he tries to hit Victor Crowley, but push him enough that he's kind of hanging on to the engine, but not all the way in. In a better movie that gave a shit about that, yeah, that would be nice, but that's not the case with this. Just Adam Green. I see a bit of him doing that in Dating Up the Marrow and Frozen, but not in these movies. So the actor, for some stupid reason, goes to save the day, and he does a football tackle on Victor Crowley. They both go through the engine and die. Now, Victor Crowley is hanging on like this. Why doesn't someone just go up and drop kick him? Or just kick him? Or find anything, it's the fucking woods. Find a big block of fucking log, tree. Go in the... I'm sure there's something in the damn crash plane that could be big and destructible to throw at him and push him. But instead, no. So the 2 are left alive, and people find them. And then the last bit is Danielle Harris looking at the news, gets a shotgun in her awful accent. I'll love you, motherfucker, or whatever the hell she said. And then the movie ends. As if there's going to be a Hatchet 5. Please, no. No more Hatchet films. I'm sorry, Victor Crowley, I was saying this before. Kane Hodder, I like Kane Hodder. I don't give a shit about Victor Crowley. I think he looks goofy. I think he looks stupid. I think he looks laughable on screen. I can appreciate Kane Hodder's energy in the kills with the way he moves, but I mean, the way he looks and the overalls really made me think of Hillbilly Jim from WWF. Like, man, this is what happened to Hillbilly Jim. That's a bad way to go, man. It just made me think of that, or what was the team? The Godwins in WWF. to have the pig slop, the slop bucket to put on Sable or Sunny. But just, I never liked this villain. I always thought it was a lame design. I always thought it was a lame creation. Like I said, they already did in Madman, and I thought he looked better in Madman, but the Madman Mars. They didn't show his face as clearly, and the few bits he did, he looked less silly. And again, with the music and the lack of goofy, stupid, unfunny comedy, it was more tolerable as old school American horror. And then this is, I would say, the worst of the four. I would say this is the worst of the four. Because it's the cheapest, it's the most boring, and it felt the most useless. It felt like this was a cash grab. Yeah, I know Adam Green wants to say George Romero influenced him, or inspired him, I should say. But this movie just... It felt like, well, it's the 10-year anniversary. This feels like one of those movies that was made because the rights were ready to go out, so you made something cheap and fast. Now, is it as bad as Hellraiser Revelations, Hellraiser 9? No, in the fact of... It wasn't like the worst movie ever type of feeling. Perry Shin, I like the actor as the lead. It's just, he's not given a good script to work with. But if someone gave him a good script, and this character to have potential, but they just, it's not utilized. Not utilized as well at all. Even the kill scenes, I would think people going in for the kill scenes, they would be disappointed. Again, by the lack of creativity, or the lack of merit on the effects where they looked, again, on the cheaper side. And what else? Like, the music, forgettable. The acting, a lot of times subpar, at best. Story, they don't give a fuck about story. There's nothing that furthers the story of Victor Crowley or anything of the sort. So what the fuck is the point? Other than we got a movie and it made some, I guess made some money for them. This is a known brand. And a franchise I never gave a shit if it did start in the first place. So I know this went like 33 minutes in. I didn't mean to, but it's almost as long as the movie. With that said, Victor Crowley, I think, sucks a bunch of fucking crap. It's dog shit. I mean, hell, it's not that I dislike slasher films. I just saw a decent one the other day called Sick, written by Kevin Williamson. Honestly, a much better movie than this. I mean, it's not slasher, but Willy's Wonderland. Fuck a little better than this. I mean, maybe you say there's a little bit of slasher in it, but Willy's Wonderland is a hell of a lot better than this. Anyway. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.